Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you are here today for another Facebook Live talking about generational wealth. Thank you for allowing me to come into your home, come out, text somebody, share this with as many people as you can. Last week, we learned how that we can create a bank. Like I always say, the cavalry's not coming, the creek is rose, the levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. So tonight, as we begin to go into the holidays, we are going to talk about our spending habits. We're going to talk about how we can create a bank. I'm going to give you a special treat tonight of exactly what people think about how we invest, how we are missing the boat. So today, as we begin to move forward, I want you to really pay attention. Share this with somebody. We're going to cover a whole lot today. Like I said, we have to learn how to control of the economics in our community. So many times I've heard an individual talking today actually I heard him on Facebook, and he was giving all type of things and how we can benefit from using credit cards during the holidays to get those points. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the reality of the matter. We must begin to understand how to budget, how to create wealth, how to create generational wealth, how we can get out of this rat race, and we're not just setting goals. Tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit about what I cover in our 100 or 700 club. Credit is a key component in getting out of debt. A lot of people say it's not. A lot of people say money is the way to get out of debt. You got to make more money. But today I'm going to give you some practical tips. Not only have I used it, but other people who are wealthy using it. And I want to talk to you about a little bit about how other people, when you're listening to them, they're not telling you the whole story. So I want today to I'm going to lay it out for you on how we can create our own bank, how we can create our own finances, and how we can start to cover our family. And I'm going to give you some practical tips on what I did and what some of the backlash of what I did so that you may be able to understand and identify how to create generational wealth. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about, as we get ready to go into the holidays, a lot of people are going to start spending. And what happens, the rich, they do not spend in an exorbitant amount during the holidays because those are not when the deals are gotten. The deals are gotten way before now. This is a fact. During the holidays, most of our retail buyers, they are actually raising the price, telling you you're getting a discount, and you are a consumer instead of being a producer. You're consuming that product. So I don't want to stop you from buying things from the holiday, but what I want to do is give you an idea and tell you exactly what we should be doing as we move forward in talking about generational wealth. And some of these things a lot of people are not talking about. A lot of these people are just telling you guys to budget, save, go to buy real estate, go and buy to the stock market, start up a bank. That's what they're all telling you guys. But what I'm going to do is give you some practical tools, step by step, on what you can do, on how you can become financially literate, and you can start to get on the path to get out of the rat race and understanding what is going on around you. Okay. This is the first thing that we must do. We must understand. I don't want you to go and create a budget. The first thing we must do is create a budget. I don't mean a budget as in go talk about all of your bills and then talk about your expenses and then, living above that. No, I want you to take your income, gross or net, it doesn't matter. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Take your gross or your net income and you multiply it by 20%. Once you take that income, once you take that, then you should live off of 20% of your income. You should be living off of 20% of your income. Now, I know at this point you're saying, I can't do it. I know that you can't do it because this is something new. Okay, this is what they're not going to tell you. I'm going to show you a video, and the video is going to take about 10 minutes, but I'm going to show you a video of what we should not be doing and that people are training a lot of people to do. This is what the rich are doing, and I'm going to talk to you about it. I have some friends that are wealthy. Okay, I've introduced a group of young men about a year ago. I took a group of young men who I thought were going to be financially straight. I introduced them to all my millionaire friends, and I have a couple of millionaire friends. I have my accountant is a multimillionaire. I have a hard money lender who is a multimillionaire, and I have my insurance person that I personally use as a multimillionaire, and I had introduced him to a stock guy who used to be a multimillionaire, and all these guys was teaching them how to live, but we missed the mark because they didn't understand how to create the habits. So the first thing that I learned is that when we must live off of 20% of our income, and you don't have to make a whole lot of money, this is a principle that you must do. This is a habit that you must do. The first thing you got to do is live off of 20% of your income. Okay. So you might be saying, hey, if you make $1,000, that means that you only can live off of $200. And we know that you cannot live off of $200. So what should you do with the other 70% of your income? Okay. So this is the goal. This is the habit that you must get to, living off of 20% of your net income. That's the first thing you must do. So the second thing you got to do is 30% of your income, you must invest. Okay? You must invest. You must invest that 30% of your income. And what should you invest into? And I'm going to give you some practical things. The first thing you need to invest in is to other people's business. You must become the bank. So we must start to invest into other people's business. And when we invest into other people's business, then we become the bank. Okay? So if you got people that's always coming to you for money, to borrow money, become the bank. That is an opportunity for you to make interest off of the money that you're lending out. So you got to be like the bank. So when you go into a bank, you put in an application, they approve you or deny you. But if you are approved, then they're going to charge you interest. So that's one of the things that you got to do is start charging interest on the money that you lend out. So if your uncle or your kid or your brother, hey, I need to borrow $2,000, or I need to borrow $1,000, or I need to borrow $500. Well, lend them the money, but charge interest on that money. So they was going to have to pay interest if they go to a payday loan. If they're going to have to go to an interest, they're going to get charged interest if they have to go to a bank or a high credit card company, or if they use their credit card, they're going to have to pay interest. So one of the things that we must do as a people is start charging interest on the money that we lend out. Because guess what happens? When you charge interest, what it does, it gives you a reinvestment, and that makes you more available to lend them more money and to help out more people. So that's the first thing we must do. Live off of 20% of your income, have 30% of your income that you're going to invest. So we talked about last week on how we should become a bank, and I'm going to hit on that again. But like I said, I'm going to give you some practical things that I've taught and that I actually live by. Second thing you must do is start 30% of your income. You got to start investing. The one thing that you got to invest in is to other people. Other people always have ideas and businesses that they want, dreams that they want. So you must become that person who helps them achieve their dream. Second thing you can invest into is real estate. Okay. The first thing that you want to invest in is to other people's businesses. Second thing you can invest into is real estate. Okay. When you invest into real estate, Get hooked into with some realtors that has been in the business. Check them out. Make sure that they have sold some houses in the neighborhoods that you're in. Drive around and look and see what realtors are doing business in the areas that you want to do business in. Don't just take a real estate agent because they're your friend or or you know them. Use people who is going to help you enhance your business. Okay. Third, stock market. Invest into the stock market. Take some classes on how to invest into the stock market. Invest into a companies that is going to be around for a long while. See, a lot of people say invest in the Apple because we're going to have computers and stuff. Well, guess what? IBM was a company that we had way back in the day, back in the 70s, but you don't hear about IBM today. You hear about Microsoft. What happened? That company refused to adjust, and guess what happened? Other companies come up. The companies that mom and dad used to have is not the same companies that we use today. Look at Whirlpool as an example. All those companies used to be very viable back in the day. I use this as an example. How many of you guys have heard of Lyft? Everybody has. But do you know before Lyft came, there was a cab company called the Ace Cab. And everybody knew that the Ace Cab, those blue cabs, were everybody used. Now we use Lyft when we go out of town. We don't have to drive around anymore. We call a Lyft. They're right there to pick us up in a vehicle that's traditionally similar to what we have at home or even better. And then they can take us to our facility. Guess what? We can call them, come back. They come back, pick us up, take us to where we go. And that's popular now. How many of you guys used to use a house phone? Back in the day, we had house phones that was able to do everything that we needed in the house. We thought it was cool. But now we have these cell phones. Time will change. What stock market, what companies are hot today might not be hot tomorrow. So make sure that you're doing your research to where you plan the short mid-range game. Okay. The third thing that you want to do is look into fourth thing you should do is look into franchises. Okay. What franchises? I know that a lot of people are saying, Cepeda, you're giving us a whole lot. But today I want to show you exactly what rich people are doing and what we are not, and what we can do to impact our community rather than sitting around and waiting for somebody else. I'm tired of hearing that, I heard it, like I said, I heard a guy talking today, and he was going on and on and on and on about how we can use credit cards to get points to get travel. I'm going to show you tonight that if you do things the proper way, you can become your own bank. And the things that you've been investing into, you can have without losing your sleeves. Okay. Like I said, the cavalry is not coming, ladies and gentlemen. The creek has rose, the levee has given way. It's up to us to save us. No longer can we put our head in the sand and say we don't have the answers to what we're trying to do. So the first thing we must do, I'm giving you the thing. Invest into other people with 30% of your income. Second thing you must do, invest in the real estate, have an asset. When you're trying to go into the bank, they're going to ask you, do you have any collateral? Get involved in that asset. Third thing you're going to do is have the stock market. Use that as an opportunity. I'm not saying invest all of your money, but have those tools, those streams of income. The fourth thing you got to do is invest into franchise. So now we're going to talk about what the rich do. I'm going to share my screen. I want you guys to pay attention. I'm going to allow this to play for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to give you some practical tips on what you can do to get out of the rat race and how you can start your financial bank to help you and your family get on the road to financial wealth. Okay. No longer can we sit up here and say, hey, I didn't know. I'm going to give you some of the things that I have done. and some of the things that you have people that are out there training the masses. I'm going to break it down for you and talk about it. So I'm going to play this video for about 10, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and I'm going to come down and we're going to break it down and show you how you can take advantage of everything that you got going on. The whole point here is you have to decide, and this is the whole message today. It's like when you read the next door, it hurt you. But for many people, it feels good.
It was a philosophy that, with hard work, gave me utter frustration. Right. For others, they love to save. They like never to spend. They love to see money sitting in a bank account, not really doing much in the bank account. I didn't love that.
I have a friend. Credit cards. Now we get to the rich. The whole point here is you have to decide, and this is the whole message today. It's like when you read Millionaire Next Door, it hurt you. But for many people, it feels good.
It was a philosophy that, with hard work, gave me utter frustration. Right. For others, they love to save. They like never to spend. They love to see money sitting in a bank account, not really doing much, but it's sitting in the bank account. And that wasn't how I didn't love that. I have a friend, it's a woman, she's about 45 years old, she has $6 million in savings, and she rides a bicycle. And her mind, this is no way, she is taking time. She is so happy. And you had $6 million in savings, and you're pretty happy too. Having a bicycle. The whole point here is your financial advice depends on going through. So if you're poor, goes wrong. If you're middle class, this is your Ramsey plate. That's good. I like your credit cards. Now we get to the rich. And the rich are opposite. That's what we cover in this group. Having a chance. Everything that's on the class there is rich. I don't have any money, so I can't pass. So last year, 2015, we financed $300 billion of debt. $300 billion. So we financed it down 5% to 2.5%. We financed $100 billion.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you see a scene, Robert Kiyosaki is somebody who created the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is what exactly did they say? Did you hear that them say that they used $350 million to refinance from 5% down to 2.5%? How much money they saved? Did you guys actually see how what they think of people who are poor, who are rich, what they think of them? Hopefully you guys are paying attention. One of the things that they didn't talk about is budgeting. How much income should you be living off of? See, a lot of people can talk the talk, but let's talk about walking the walk now. Okay, if you've been following me, you've always heard me say, talking about generational wealth. You've always heard me talk about the cavalry is not coming, the creek is rose, the levee is giving way. You've heard me say that. It should be ingrained in your brain. So now I'm telling you to live off of 20% of your income. This is what they're not telling you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what they're not telling you. Now I'm telling you that you got to invest. Take 30% of your income and invest it. Like they said, invest it into different things. They're not telling you where to invest it. They just said that they had $300 million. Where did they invest that money? If you got that type of capital, what did you invest in to amass that type of wealth? Debt. What type of debt should you have? See, a lot of times we'll go out in our community, we'll go out and because we're consumers instead of producers, we think what we drive is who we are, or what we wear is who we are. A lot of times it's not what you wear or what you drive or where you live that validates what you're doing. What you are the person that makes that whatever it is valuable. For instance, I'll use this as an example. Nike builds a shoe, right? That shoe probably costs $20 to $30 to make at the max. But when Michael Jordan puts on that shoe, people think that they're Michael Jordan. And when they put on that shoe, they think that Michael Jordan brings value to that shoe. He has taken that shoe from $30 to almost $275, $300, $500. Michael Jordan made the shoe brand. That's when they spend thousands of dollars for you to come into a store and to satisfy your instincts to want to be something that you're really not. It's almost like driving a car, right? And the car is very beautiful on the outside. But when you start it up, it does not go anywhere. What do you mean, Cepeda? It's about the engine, about what's up under the hood that makes a car a car. It's not what the outside is, it's really the engine. Rich people understand that. Poor people will pay $250,000 for a car and won't invest $200 in their community. And then they'll say, well, we just don't support one another. If you are a multi-billionaire, there's no reason why you should be broke. You should never go broke. And so a lot of times when we're talking about investing, let's talk about what we need to do in order for us to get ahead. The second thing we need to do is make sure that when we're investing, okay, we need an insurance policy. 30% of your income, we must invest, right? So 30%, second thing we got to do, 30% of their income, we can invest. We talked about what we should invest into, okay? Well, let me see here. Okay, there we go. 30% of the income you need to have to fund your future, okay? Sorry, I lost my mouse here. 30% of the income, you must fund your future, okay? So when you talk about funding your future, you got to save. Okay, you got to go buy an insurance policy. When you get that insurance policy, let's talk about that. So when you get your insurance policy, if you invest $100, you're going to get 60. So this money that you make, the $60 that you make, you can turn around and fund. You can put the $60 in, $100 in. You can go pull the $60 out. Then you can go and fund what you're trying to invest into. For instance, you can fund your business. You can fund somebody else's business. You can fund your child going to college. You can fund a car. You can fund your uncle's business, your sister's business, and collect interest off of that. And this is how we start to create wealth in our community. Okay. The next thing we'll do is 20% of your income you must save for a rainy day. Okay. 20% of your income to save for a rainy day or a good deal. This is what we're missing that they're talking about. Yes, you're going to have debt. Okay. But when you have debt, you need to know that 20% of that income, of your income, should be debt. You should be able to live off of 20% of it. Okay. Debt is not bad if you know how to use it. Okay. Like, for instance, if you go get an insurance policy and you give $100 and you turn around and borrow against it, right? The $60, that is tax deductible. That's what they're not telling you. You guys saw it. He is one of the top authors in the world. Robert Kiyosaki is. He's telling you that, once again, he's not telling you that he has an insurance policy. He's not telling you what he's talking about. He said that he went to a bank. They go to the banks that you make your deposits in. Let's talk about the banking industry. The banking industry is no more than a gigantic insurance company. When you go make your deposits into the bank turns around and lends 70% of it. Same thing with credit cards. They are insured by an insurance company. That's why it says FDIC insured. Why? So when you make your deposits, you're actually giving them the right to lend money to other institutions, and they're not giving you that money. So when you get turned down, think about this. You can start your own bank, and you will guaranteed to be approved. Ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry is not coming. I'm giving you the blueprint on how to live generational wealthy. Okay? You don't have to have $1 million in order to start to become generational wealthy. What you must do is bet on yourself. That's the first thing you must do, is start to bet on yourself and educate yourself. With that 20% you're saving for a rainy day, go back to school. Okay? Go back to school. Yes, you're right, Larry. Thanks for the information. That's what Larry said. Go back to school. You must begin to start to understand, like, what you're doing here. Go back to school. Go back and learn a trade. Invest into yourself. Go to classes. Go to seminars to where you can actually learn how to do certain things. Give yourself a chance, a fighting chance. So what should you do? When we talk about during the Christmas holidays, a lot of us are going to use our credit cards to finance what we're doing. I'm not saying don't do it, but if you're going to use your credit card, write this down. Only use 30% of the balance that you get. So if you got $1,000, only use $300. And also make sure that $300 that you use, also you want to make sure that you're living off of 20% of that. So that when you actually getting ready to go into the new year, you need to have money to invest. And that's a great time because people are overextended. Did you hear what he said? He said one of the things that they do is they create teams. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I didn't have access to somebody with a multi-million dollar that was willing to train me on how to run a business. I didn't have that access to that. The cavalry was not coming. The creekers rose. My mom and my grandparents, they lived paycheck to paycheck. And sometimes we had to stretch it just to make a living. So what should we do now? What we must do is start to understand that our parents had habits. So what we must do now is create habits. Don't set goals. Create habits. Because if you set a goal and you don't hit that goal, you'll be discouraged. Every year we set goals. But how many of us actually keep that goal for a whole year? But I tell you this, if you start to create a habit of saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to spend what I don't have. See, so many times in our community, we don't invest in one another because we don't have it. And the reason why we don't have it is because we haven't created the habits to be able to help fund other people. So what do you mean, Cepeda? What are you saying? I'm saying that once we create great habits of investing, then we can start empowering our own community. I went by Lafayette today, Lafayette Square, here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And here in Indianapolis, Indiana, there are geographical areas that certain people, certain ethnic groups of people have came and started up businesses in our community, and we don't even see ourselves functioning in that community, in that capacity. So you ask yourself, why is it that we can have people that come in our communities and they start to invest, and we don't even have the ability to even finance anything in our communities, and we don't have any banks? So in other words, we don't have any insurance companies, quote unquote, that will be able to assist us in promoting what we want, what our agenda is. So tonight, I'm giving you the answers to the question. You must create an insurance policy. You get 60% back. You take 30% of the money that you have made every month to every week to fund your program. And then you turn around and borrow against it. Debt is not bad. We learned that. $300 and something million that they refinance to get a lower interest rate. Credit will be taken care of if you create the good habits. He didn't talk about a 750 credit score. How do you get that? What algorithms do you got to have? When you have assets, when you have real estate, you have stocks, you have a 401k. If you are working, you have a 401k. Some of you guys work at places where your company matches you. If they're matching you, you should pull your money out and invest it. You are the best investment that you can have. When you start to let other people invest for you, then guess what? You're at their disposal. I wouldn't trust nobody who I don't know to invest everything that I have. I was looking at a person's 401k and I saw them losing 13% of their 401k within the last 6 months. 13% of their 401k. And if you ask them the question, where did the money go? Who's investing it? They couldn't tell you. You know why? Because we're not trained, and we don't think, hey, I got to pull this money out so that I can reinvest it myself. I can get my own insurance policy. I can get my own investment. I can start lending to people that I know, that I can go see, that I can collect interest on. I can buy a property, and I can set up my own retirement. Okay? Don't set goals, create habits. The next thing, learn how to sell yourself to get the desired result. Okay? Even from an infant, we've known how to sell ourselves. The older we get, we've been taught to where there's certain things we can't do. I had my grandson in my office a couple days ago, well, just yesterday, and he wanted some juice, and he knew that if he do what I tell him to do, and he pointed to the juice, but first he had to do what I told him to do, then he could get the desired result of getting to the juice. So what he did is he came and gave me a hug, and then the juice was sitting at my desk, and then he pointed to the juice. It's hard to tell somebody no once you've actually won them over. Well, that's the same thing that we got to do in the financial world. It's hard for us to be told no if we got our own banks, if we got our own businesses, if we got our own institutions that we can go to and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. The banks will be more than willing to lend to you if you have some assets and you have some people that's behind you and you have some ways on you how you can make the bank money. The bank will lend to you. But if you go in there yourself and you don't have the team, and they talked about having a team, how you must have a team of people that looks over your finances, that is very fluent in looking at contracts, attorneys. These are where our kids are at. We have kids that have went to school for marketing, business, law, accounting, and we don't even use them. They go to other companies and make them millions while we sit around and talk about what we should be doing. We must learn how to sell ourselves to get the desired result that we want. It's not about the money. It's about you selling yourself and getting the desired result. What result are you desiring yourself? So many people are looking for the holidays. They're looking to go out and buy the Gucci's and go out and buy the Louis Vuittons and go out and buy the latest gadgets. And those are all great. But what type of desired result is going to bring you to you? What have you produced? And if you haven't produced nothing, try consuming a lot less. Try that and see what the desired result was. 20% of your income got to be saved for a rainy day. And then don't set goals, create habits. Learn how to sell yourself. And it says, don't look like a millionaire, live like a bank. Okay? Don't try to stay up with the Joneses. So many times I see people that is trying to live up to something that they're not, especially here on Facebook. There are a lot of people that when they're on Facebook, and I get this a lot, and I get it. They say that you got to look at, and like he said, I don't want to follow somebody who hasn't done it yet. Well, that's easy for a person to say that is around billionaires. But what happened when you are not around those type of people? And I've learned from my millionaire friends is this. If you are trying to climb the ladder, okay, and you're trying to get out of debt, there's some things that you must learn. One, you must learn to pay attention to your environment. Two, you must learn how to function in a whole new pool. What do you mean, Cepeda, when you say you got to learn how to function in a whole new pool? For years, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have access to the capital that my friends had. But one of the things I learned is that if I can create the habits that they have, eventually I'll get the results that they're getting. Now, it might not be as great as they are at, but I'm still going to get the same result as they're getting. So if I see that they're living off of 20% of their income, then I start to live off of 20% of my income, then guess what's going to happen? Eventually, my situation is going to start to get better. If I see that they're investing into the stock market, or they're investing into real estate, or they're investing into their friends that have businesses, then guess what? If I'm doing it with my little group, with my little money, eventually my income is going to start to increase too, because I am creating the same habits that they have. We don't have to live beneath them. What we have to do is create the habits that they have. This is what is not talked about. This is why a person can get on YouTube or get on Facebook and look like they have $1 million and they don't have no houses, don't have no businesses. They're tricking you to believe that they're doing something that they're really not. Okay? We don't want to do that here at Mad Capital Investment Group. We want to be transparent. So what are they saying? Hey, Cepeda, what have you actually did? Let's talk about it. This is the elephant in the room. Many times I've gotten criticized because I don't have what everybody think I should have. And you know why I'm okay with it? Is because at the end of the day, what am I desiring to do? One, I personally desire to have generational wealth, not just for me, but for my children and my children's children and my children's children. I want my great-great-grandchildren to say, hey, listen, when I Google my grandpa, he was doing this on Facebook Live, and guess what? He was literally trying to become the man here in his community that was investing into people rather than him trying to live in a Mercedes-Benz house and stay in a multi-million-dollar home. Now, all of those things will come. But what I'm focusing on is making sure that I have the opportunity to be a blessing to my children and my children's children. My two daughters work for my company. Do we always get along? No. Do we always, all of our bills are always paid? No. But one of the things that I'm doing is learning, and they're learning how to work together. We're learning how to work together to have generational wealth, right, in our community. Every day that we overcome another day, guess what happens? That's closer. That's another day that we can talk about we're creating generational wealth. This is what we must start to do as a community. The Calvary is not coming, ladies and gentlemen. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. We don't have to live like a millionaire. We have to live like a bank. So what does that mean? I don't want to put a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton bag or Coach bag on my back, and I can't even bless my children. I would rather struggle and bless my children than to try to have a lifestyle or live into something that I cannot afford. And that's a personal choice. You have to create those habits to where you can sacrifice right now for a long-term benefit. Live off of 20% of your income. Then the bank is no more than a large insurance company. I'll say it again. The bank is no more than a large insurance company. When you understand that banking and financial literacy is the key to getting out of debt, it's the key to blessing your children, it's the key to stopping crime, it's the key to stopping violence, it's the key to education, it's the key to politics, it's the key to health, it's the key to healthy marriages, it's the key to healthy families. So many times we have women that says, hey, I want a man who got it going on, or I want a man who's financially stable. What about you being financially stable? Or we say, I want a woman who kind of got it together. Why don't you get it together? And y'all build together as a team instead of as individuals. If you come already made, then there's nothing else to do. We must begin to invest into our children and our children's children and make decisions that's going to affect not just me, but the generations and generations that's going to come after me. That's why when you create that insurance policy, if you paid attention to our show last week, when you created that insurance policy, let's talk about it. When you create that insurance policy, just say $100,000 and your premium is $700, and you start to live off of 20% of your income and you start investing. And when you start to invest and you start to use that insurance policy, guess what's going to happen when you pass? And you keep it up. One of the things you're not going to have is a GoFundMe. Because if you create a $100,000 insurance policy, guess what's going to happen? When your investments, when you pass, everything that you invested into becomes paid. Now that insurance policy is in effect and that funds goes to your children tax-free. Now your children have another opportunity to do something that you could not do. You left a blessing. You left an inheritance to your children. He talked about having estates and things of that nature. When we talk about Robert Kiyosaki, do you think his kid's going to be on the welfare line? He's talking about debt. What happens when you can't pay your bills and you got $350,000, $350 million that is insured by the bank or an insurance policy? You file bankruptcy on it, guess what happens? That doesn't change the fact that you have bought what you had. That just says that you need to start all over again. That's what the rich people do. Poor people, we file bankruptcy on $70,000 or $50,000. We need to change the way we look at money and the way we look at each other. When we start to invest into one another, then I believe the shackles of poverty will fall off. I'm giving you some tools on how you can start to have the opportunity. Let me take that back. I'm giving you some tools on how you can create a habit and have the opportunity to create generational wealth for you and your family. It starts with one, you living on 20% of your income. When you start to reinvest yourself in the way you think, then you can start to make decisions for you and your family. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually trying to do it. They say that trying is a failing word. And I agree. So let me say it like this. This is something that I'm doing. And if I fail to do it, I'm going to get back up and keep doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to stay in with the Joneses. We need to learn how to become the Joneses. The greatest asset that you and I have is each other. When we start to understand that we are accountable one to another, and when we start to have financial wealth, then we can start to do what other people do. Robert Kiyosaki kind of let the cat out of the bag. And I saw some of you guys said you couldn't hear it as much, but you know where the website is at. Go there and look up Robert Kiyosaki, put it in their interview, and it'll come up. And one of the things that he said is this: they had to create teams. What are some of the teams that we can create in our community that we can start to benefit from? One of the things that we can create, those kids who keep knocking down your windows and running down the street, those are talented kids, need to be pointed in the right direction. The young man who is out selling drugs out in front of your home, he's a salesman. Invest into his business and find out what he likes to do and see what you can do to help him out. And charge him interest. The person who keeps your cousin that keeps coming to you and borrowing money, borrowing it, borrowing it, borrowing it, borrowing it. It seems like they never get enough. Try setting us. Let's create a business, and then I'll show you how we can make this money together. That's how we need to start to look at these things as we get ready to go into the new year, and everybody is looking at spending. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let what you wear, what you buy define who you are. Start to define yourself by the person and the character who you are. And what you put on, you bring value to that. What you drive, you bring value to that. Where you live, you bring value to their community. Once we start to do those things and we change our mindset, there's a great book out that I suggested we all go get. The book is called Think and Grow Rich. And it's not a self-help book, but it talks about how you can change the way you think. It will give you a different outcome of your circumstance. It's almost like the glass half empty or half full. We look at debt as the glass half empty, but rich people look at the debt as glass half full. Ladies and gentlemen, there are times where people are saying that the interest rates are going up and we are on our way to recession. People who are billionaires and millionaires made most of their money during a recessionary period. There's a game that we like to play. And the game is the game that came out of the recession. It's probably one of the most popular games ever made. But it came out of a recession when there was a man who was dealing with his family and he wanted to play a game with his family, but he was talking about something that was very important that was going on around him. And the game had a lot to do with risk and shooting dice and moving accordingly. And it deals with real estate. And the game was called Monopoly. Monopoly is a game that everybody knows how to play. It deals with money, it deals with risk, it deals with chance. But what's the common denominator in the game of Monopoly? The game of Monopoly says if you don't buy real estate, you can have all the money in the world. You can have all the deals in the world, but if you don't buy real estate, you'll never win. Because somebody who has the real estate, you're going to eventually hit their property and you're going to have to pay them for hitting their property. You can have the best luck in the world, but eventually you're going to have to pay the piper. And there's a lot of other things that goes into the game and the type of property that you buy and things of that nature. And we can talk about that also at a later time. But for today's purposes, I wanted to talk to you about understanding when you're talking about financials, you're talking about generational wealth. You talked about Susie Orman. Susie Orman says, cut up your credit cards. If you understand that, or live debt free, if you understand that, guess what? That's going to hurt your credit. When you cut up your credit cards, that hurts your credit. Come to our credit education classes that we have, and we can get into detail, or join the 700 Club. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have that, and you can understand what credit can do for you. Or you can be like Dave Ramsey, that says you got to be debt free. They're not telling you that at one time they wasn't debt free. You buy their books, they don't have to pay their debt. They're living off of what you're doing. Being debt free is great if you know what to do. Sometimes it's not good to be debt free because guess what? It might be an investment that you need to have investments in. Some of the wealthiest people in the world have a lot of debt. So debt can't always be bad. It's what you do with it. But what we can no longer do is say, I am buying using this credit card or this debit card or whatever card you want to use to say I'm going to get some traveling points so that I can go to Florida whenever the time is right, or go to Jamaica, or go wherever, because I got these travel points. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to learn how to live off of 20% of our income, and we need to make sure that when we make purchases, that we are investing into things that we're going to get a return on. The Calvary is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is given way. It's up to us to save us. And I gave you some practical tools on how you can bet on yourself. I gave you some practical tools that you can use, not just budgeting, but what you can use for the holidays. And then I gave you some tools on what you can do to start your own family bank. Go buy an insurance policy. Call Eric up or call KB up that we had on the show. His number is at the bottom of the screen. Go buy an insurance policy of whatever you can afford and start right there. And then as you start to invest into other people, you'll see the return, I guarantee you, that you want to see. I started to invest into other people a long time ago. And guess what? I got a call today from a young lady. I used to coach basketball. I would give my own money to these kids that wanted to play basketball. And you might be saying, well, that's something that you did with your daughters. And yeah, that's what your kids do with your kids. But guess what? That return is coming back now, because guess what? All the money that I invested, now she wants to become a part of do what we do over here with the business. You can win when you invest into other people. You can win. We got the best bank it is. I used to say, I want to create a bank. But within the last month, this is what I've learned. I am the bank. I just got to start acting like it. And when you start to act like what you want to be, then guess what? You become what you want. You're almost like the caterpillar. When the caterpillar is first born, it crawls on the ground. It can't do nothing. It's called a caterpillar. It's not even called what its original, what its destination is going to be. And then it crawls on the ground, and if it can make it through that, then it goes up a tree. Then it becomes a cocoon. It gets hard. And then after a certain period of time, something beautiful happens. It turns into a butterfly. And when it turns into this butterfly, it no longer walks on the ground, no longer is it standard. It begins to fly. The things that it used to be a part of, no longer is it a part of that anymore. It flies above it. Ladies and gentlemen, when we start to understand financial literacy, we're like that caterpillar. We begin to transform into butterflies, and we begin to fly over all the problems that we might have had. Now, not saying that butterfly don't have issues. It still got issues. It still got to deal with the wind. It still got to deal with predators. It still got to deal with different things. But it's experiencing life from a different perspective. When it was a caterpillar, it only experienced life from the bottom looking up. But as a butterfly, it experienced life from top looking down. That's your choice. Do you want to be a caterpillar, or do you want to be a butterfly? Do you want to be a bank, or do you want to keep being a slave to the banking industry? You can create your own bank today. Call the people who I just said. Live off of 20% of your income. And guess what you can do? You will be able to make a change for you, your family, your family's family, and your friends. And you will have an impact on your community. Ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose and the levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. Next week, we're going to conclude a three-part series on financial wealth. Last week, we talked about what we needed to talk about with the bank. This week, we talked about how and I gave you some practical tools on what you can do and how to fund your bank. And if you apply those things, you don't have to have a whole lot of money. Only thing you got to do is have a mind that want to change and change your habits. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. Anybody can do it. And then next week, we're going to talk about not just how to fund it, not just what you need to do to get it, but once you get there, how do you network with people with the same mindset, the same goal, and what should you invest into? That's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to have some great guests next week. I might have 4 to 5 people because I really want opportunities. I want to show you what type of network you need to have when you're bringing. You might have an insurance agent, a banker, an attorney. I'm going to pull out the stops next week so that we can make sure that you have all the tools that you need in order for you to be successful. As we get ready to go into the holidays, ladies and gentlemen, don't get tricked into buying something that you can't afford. Don't be so quick to try to get something that brings no value to you. Try to get something that's going to encourage you, that's going to strengthen you, that's going to give you the opportunity to fight another day. And last of all, ladies and gentlemen, please don't say I'm going to create a goal. Create a habit. Till next week, keep betting on yourself. The cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come into your home. Thank you for allowing me to come in and be a part of you guys. We're coming on the end of a new year. We got some great things coming down the road with Mad Capital Investment Group. Save the date, December the 15th. We're going to have our Christmas party at 9,000 Keystone and the Crossing. We invite you out. If you have had a business, if you have watched the show, we're going to have some great opportunities there with food. We're going to have some great networking. We're going to celebrate, and we're going to come into the new year ready to take it over. We're still pushing home ownership. We're still pushing investment in our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry's not coming. It's still not too late. And don't let people tell you that the interest rates are going up. Only because the interest rates are going up, that doesn't mean that you can't buy a home. You can still get in a home. The interest rates going to go up and down. They're going to keep going up and down. Okay? Make sure that you take advantage of that. December 15th is the Christmas party. 9,000 Keystone and the Crossing. Yep, that's what it is. The cavalry is not coming. Absolutely. Knowledge is power. If you have had any questions, shoot it in my inbox. Me or somebody on my staff will get back with you. We will make sure that we answer all of your questions, all of your answers. One last note, if you're thinking about becoming a loan officer, if you're looking to start to do loans, make sure that you give us a call. We can help you out. If you cannot, I heard that some people have said that you can't hear. I apologize. Give us a call. I can get you the information that you did. I tried to make it sure that that you could actually hear what we were saying. But if you need the audio visual, I will be able to get that to you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to come into your home this year. This is going on 2 years. We've been going strong. I thank you for allowing me to support you. I thank you for listening. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for participating. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry is not coming. We must become bankers in our own community. We don't have to have a sign that says we're a bank, but we can go get an insurance policy, and then we can become a bank, and we can lend money to our family, to our kids, to our friends, and we can network with one another. What big banks do, when one of the banks are going down, what did they do? They merge. So we can merge our banks. We can go out and get these insurance policies, put a little bit of money that I have with a little bit of money that you got, and we can go buy a policy, and then we can lend off of that, and we can work together. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to come into your home and enjoy what you're doing. A lot of people said they couldn't hear the video. I will repost it tomorrow, and then we will make sure that everybody is getting the knowledge and getting the opportunities that they want. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming out and tuning in for this past hour. Once again, the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. So once again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting. If you want some information on how you can become your own personal bank, or if you're looking to start a business, inbox me, let me know. I'll be more than glad to reach back out to you and get you on that road, get you on the fast track to going where you're going. Like I said, December the 15th, we're going to have the Christmas party, and then coming in January, we're going to be having the 700 Club. We're going to have the business seminars. We're going to have the mentoring, and we're going to have the credit education coming back. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this year has been a great year for every last one of us. We want to take it to the next level. If you have any suggestions on different topics or different businesses that you would like to have on the show or that you want me to cover, once again, just let me know, inbox me, and I'll see what I can do to get you on. Until next time, keep betting on yourself. And remember, the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose, and the levee is giving way. Live off of 20% of your income. If you haven't learned nothing else today, live off of 20%, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be all right after that. Bye-bye.